Mind power, part two. All right, so last time I talked about mind power and the different forms of mind power, the power of influence, power of suggestion, hypnosis, telepathy. I really went into the power of influence for the most part, and I started to read a little bit more into the power of influence and how it is used today. So interestingly enough, mind power has been used since the ancient times, since back in ancient Egypt, ancient Greece, the priest would actually use these powers to control the minds of the people, right? Um, they were actually the powers behind the kings and the queens because they had such an understanding of how the powers worked, right? So just to kind of break down how the power of influence is really used and how it works. So it all starts with your thoughts. Your thoughts create certain emotions, right? So you may have an angry thought, which may create an angry emotion. You may have a sad thought. You may have a thought of excitement. You may have a thought of depression. Those thoughts create your emotions. And then your emotions create what they call an aura. So your aura is like, how to explain? Your aura is like this realm, and it's a proven fact that everybody has an aura about them. But the aura is like this realm that kind of surrounds your body, and it comes in different colors, and each color represents a different emotion. So you can actually go to like a place where they do psychic readings, and they can take a picture of you, and it'll show what your aura is and what color your aura is. So the aura, which, like I said, it all stems from your thoughts, and your thoughts create your emotions create this aura. Your aura gives off vibrations, or for a shorter word, your vibe, right? So we all know it's a very popular term. When you walk in, when you run into somebody, they have a certain kind of vibe. Maybe their vibe is off, maybe they had a good vibe or whatever, but your vibe or your vibrations is what people pick up on. And once people pick up on those vibrations about you, it actually arouses their mind to feel the same way that you're feeling. You know, your vibrations can convince people or influence people to believe in the stuff that you're saying or to feel the way that you're feeling, to have the same kind of emotions that you're having, to have the same kind of desires that you may have, right? So somebody could walk into a room and they could just light up a room. Everybody could automatically be attracted to that person because their vibe is just so, powerful, or they just had such a positive vibe that everybody paid attention to that person because of their vibe. Whenever you talk to somebody, you can kind of just feel the kind of vibe they have, whether it was a positive vibe or whether it was a negative vibe. But those are the vibrations that are coming from that person, which, like I said before, it all stems from your thoughts. Whether you're having a positive thought or a negative thought, your thoughts will become your emotions turn into, come off as your aura, and your aura gives off those vibrations. So with the power of influence, another way that people use the power of influence as well is by a certain level of emotion when they speak. So some people, when they talk, they may use a certain level of intensity. They may use passion. They may use anger. They may use sadness. But there's a certain emotion that they use whenever they talk to you, right? So an example would be an actor. An actor, when he's playing a role, while he's playing that role, he may have a certain level of passion while he's playing that role. He may use a certain emotion while he's playing that role. He may use anger, he may use excitement, he may use sadness. But with him using that particular emotion, he's doing that in order to convince his audience to believe into what he's saying, or to influence his audience to feel the same way he's feeling, to feel that emotion, right? To feel that intensity that he's using, to make the audience feel the same way that he's feeling. That's what makes a good actor. is being able to convince your audience to believe in what you're saying and to influence them to feel what you're feeling, right? Singers do it. Whenever you see somebody in the booth, a singer or a rapper, when they're in the booth, when they sing, they use a certain level of emotion. They use passion. They may use intensity while they're in the booth. That is a way to convince his audience, in order to a way to influence his audience to feel the same way, right? So these are all mind power. This is all the power of influence. Now, some people are aware of it, some people are not. Some people are conscious of what they're doing, some people are not. From my understanding, actors are taught in acting school that when you are acting out a certain role, you need to use a certain kind of emotion or a certain level of emotion in order to really convince the audience, right? So, interestingly enough, like I said, these powers were used in ancient times. And this was a way they were able to control the minds of the people. And you see the same thing going on today. You know, people's minds are being controlled by mind power, whether it's, through media, or, whether it may be through uh, religion or a cult, or, cult leaders, whomever. But it's the same thing going on today. Um, the students of the occult, the priests, the leaders, kings and queens of certain empires in ancient times, they were actually supposed to deny this information to the people, right? So if anybody who was not a student of the occult, or they were not priests, or they were not, leaders of the masses, they were not supposed to learn about this information. They were the leaders, the priests, the kings. They were supposed to deny that this information ever existed, because, like I said, they were using this information to control the minds of the people, and by doing so, they could use this information to convince people to believe in things that they were telling them. They could use this information to influence people to feel the same way they were feeling, right? Another way that uh, people use the power of influence, or people would convince people to believe in certain things, is certain, like, hand movements, right? Or certain movements with their bodies. So uh, when people would talk, not only would they use certain emotions while they were talking, but they would use certain hand movements, hand gestures, movements with the head, or just certain body movements to help convince the people that they were talking to believe what they were believing, or to influence them to feel what they were feeling, whether it was the same desires, the same motives, or just um, the same feelings or whatever. So this was another way people would use. I mean, for example, if you look at leaders, right, prime ministers, um, preachers, anybody who is a great orator, or somebody who has a large following or a large crowd, and they talk to large crowds of people, you may notice that, of course, they use a certain emotion when they talk to these people, but they may also use certain hand movements and hand gestures when they talk to these people. It's all a form of mind power, and some of these people know exactly what they're doing, right? Some people don't. Some people may not be aware of it, but yes, it is all a form of mind power. I'm sorry, a form of mind power, a way to influence you, and a way to convince you to believe in the things that they're saying, and a way to influence you to feel the things that they're feeling. So, just some game for you. Mind Power by William Walker Atkinson. Like I said, these principles, they still exist today, and I think that I'm going to end this video with just that. I wanted to go into the subtle art of not giving a fuck, some game that I got from there, which is some good game, but I think I'm gonna do that the next video, as well as my nigga Nip Hustle, the marathon don't stop. All right, that's it. Till next time, see you again.